so many types of paper. What type of paper would you use for drawing? What's the difference in the papers? How come there's so many choices? We'll cover that and more right after this. Today we're going to talk a little bit about paper. And I know might seem strange, but with art, you go into even the art department at Walmart and you look and there's so many choices of paper. And it's not just sizes, it's types. There's multimedia paper, there's sketch paper, there's watercolor paper, there's canvas paper, there's all these different types. Which one do you get for what you want to do? So we're going to go over a few of those and that'll help you out. We're going to start off with the simple one called a sketch pad. Now sketch pads and sketch paper, this particular one is extra white. So they're different shades too. And that's another thing that we'll cover. But if you'll notice, it's a fairly thin, lightweight paper. So when you go in the store, you're trying to figure out what you want. One of the things you can do is kind of open it up, give it a little bit of feel. And it's real, you'll notice that sketch paper is real smooth on both sides. And what you'd use this for is rough sketches. Your doodling, this is perfect for. You can also use it for drawing in general that you want to practice your drawing with, or even drawings that you want to keep or give away. As far as color goes with paper, this one is bright white or extra white. Then you'll see that it says white or standard white. Then you'll see a paper that says vellum, and it's a cream colored paper. The texture is also a little bit different, but it's still a drawing paper in color. The next type of paper that you'll find is a little heavier, and it's a multimedia paper. Now, one of the ways it comes is in the spiral ring notebook. They come in these spiral ring notebooks and hardbound notebooks as well, come in anything from 5x7 to usually 11x17. Now these are a little bit heavier paper. In fact, you can almost see a difference in the thickness, but as I move it compared to the sketch paper, you can see that it's a thicker paper. There are two types of these multimedia pads. This particular type is smooth on one side and a texture on the other. And you won't notice the texture other than feeling or when you're drawing on it. And what that'll do is that the texture side leaves you more of a rough appearance in your drawing or in your pastels if you're using soft pastels or even oil pastels. Next kind of paper is watercolor paper. Now watercolor paper is good for drawing on. It's a heavier paper. It's a heavier stock. As you can see, it's actually heavier than a cardstock. And the reason why is this is cotton woven in with it when they make the paper to make it absorbent. This particular one has a texture to it. It's 140 pound weight. What it means is a ream of paper, 500 sheets like this, would weigh 140 pounds. Or it's known as, by its GSM number, which would be 300. Now with this type of paper, there's 80, 90, 140, 240, and sometimes, depending on the brand, as high as 450 for the per pound per weight, which puts the GSM up over 1,000. And it depends on how much saturation you're going to need. There's a lot of factors that are involved depending on the type of watercolor that you would use on what it is. But it also has, because it has such a good texture and such a firm, it makes an excellent paper for drawing pastels and especially portraits with pastels, because it gives you plenty of texture to grab the pastel and hold it to the paper. One way you get it would be in these folded tablets like this and in individual sheets. Another way you can get watercolor paper is in what's known as a block, and it's just glued like a regular writing tablet. It's glued all the way around so that the paper doesn't move around. The difference being with this one, you put your paper down, do your painting, and then you take a knife and you'll separate it off. With this type of paper, you have to tape it down or tack it down, let it get wet, and then dry to shrink to stay in place before you start using it if you're using it for watercolors. I know dry to shrink sounds strange, but once you've done it a couple of times, it'll make perfect sense. The third type of paper that you will run across, specific type of paper, is what's called canvas paper. But it's textured just like canvas. And it's absorbent like the watercolor paper. The difference is that this is better suited to acrylics and oil paint, to use a paper to paint on. And the reason for that is because the watercolor paper is more absorbent in a different way because it's designed to soak up water in order to acquire the color. Whereas the acrylics and oils, they need to maintain their liquid until they dry to maintain the adherence to your painting or whatever. The canvas paper is a better solution. I hope that answers your questions about papers. There's plenty more things that we could cover, and as we cover different areas for drawing and for painting of the different types of painting, whether we're doing watercoloring, acrylic, or oil paints, we'll cover a little more about the papers and the types of papers you can use specifically for each type of artwork. Now, if you've enjoyed what you saw today and you'd like to know more, click the subscribe button down below, ring the little bell that pops up to let you know when we go live or when we're uploading a new video, and check out the videos over here to find out extra tips and tricks to be able to increase your creativity and make it more enjoyable. Until next time, you be sure and have fun.